What's going on, everybody? How are you? Welcome to another episode of the Bitchuation Podcast live. I am your host, Francesca Fiorentini. You've seen me on the thing. You've seen me on that other thing. You might have seen me on Instagram and don't really know where you know me from, but hey, you're here and that's all that matters. Thank you for being here. I see y'all on YouTube and on Twitch. David DeRice already with some thoughts, just a lot of thoughts. Thank you. Chuck Diesel, James Hicks, Alicia, Prince of Judah 79, Todd Roy as always, using tubes. And all the other wonderful people, Michelle K, Carol Shea. Hi. I hope you guys are good. I'm okay. This is the Halloween edition of the Bitchuation Room, which means we will not be dressing up because nothing could be scarier than the current moment that we're in. So why the fuck are we going to try and compete? You know, we got the ghouls in the White House, the ghouls, the gabaghouls. It's me, Francesca Fiorentini. We have such a great show. You guys, we're going to be talking to the youngest Democratic strategist ever, who ironically called himself a Democratic strategist up until recently when he realized, oh yeah, I am one. Waleed Shahid of Justice Democrats. You know, they are the ones behind the rise of folks like AOC, Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush, all of these awesome progressive victories, blue victories that are changing Congress and our entire country. So excited to talk to him. We also have comedian Erin Dewey Lennox, and we are going to be talking about just the worst Halloween costume ideas we've ever had. And those usually are when you try and make something like intellectual, you like try to personify it. Like you don't do the mermaid and like the tree thing or, you know, a pirate, just a simple pirate. You know, you just decide to do like, you know, I'm going to do pi, like, you know, like the number pi, get it? And nobody does. And you're a big old nerd, but that's okay. We're going to be getting into it. If you are here, make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. Press the like button, subscribe. It lets people know that we're live. Turn on your notifications. It lets you know that we are on 6 o'clock here every Sunday night or wherever you're tuning in from. Also, if you're in the future, how does it work out? Is it a good week? And also, give this podcast 5 stars. What are you doing? 5 stars. Thank you so much. You guys have been so generous. So sweet. I read all of your reviews. It means a lot. Also, we're going to be doing an election coverage on election night. On-election coverage, yeah, just one of the many, you know, because we got to get in there in the fray, got to compete, got to make sure Mitch McConnell and the Republicans can throw their ads on our videos and make a little bit of mun. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, the point is, let us know if you have any suggestions on which experts or comics or folks we've already had on the show that you want to see on election night. We'll probably go live for like an hour, 2 hours, 8 o'clock Eastern, or not Eastern, Pacific, 8 o'clock Pacific. It'll be late, whatever. Details to come. But also, speaking of mun, you know, we always collect a little bit through tips, and you guys have been also really generous. TBR-Live, TBR Live on Venmo. Thank you so much to everyone who's donated $20 or more. I'm going to do a little shout out to Raylon Smith, Daniel Lee, Robert Gilbert, Saritam Sanyal, Stephen Waddy, Osam Colonel, Donna Sanchez, and all the other folks who've donated. Thank you. You know, we put a portion of that money to seed the vote, which is still turning out volunteers, phone bankers, folks on the ground, hitting the pavement and actually getting out the vote in specifically communities of color, among young people in those swing states. And you know they've been voting in record numbers this week. Maybe some of you are them. New York, y'all had early voting start. There were crazy lines. I don't get how there can be lines that long in a city that big. But yeah, we got a lot of work to do in this country. We just, you know, we got a lot of work to do. Like voting should be way fucking easier. I don't get it. Anyway, let's move on. Cause I'm opening with a bitch. We're doing things differently. I'm opening with a bitch. Yes, it's me. I'm a bitch. But also I'm going to bitch about what I'm thinking about. It's 8 days out of the election, and I'm fucking nervous, y'all. You guys, I'm nervous. My body is broken. Like, I'm in pain. I've got like carpal tunnel, and I've got RSI. And you guys, if you work on the computer all day long, you know what I'm going through. Even my yoga's not really working. I got a scratch on my hand. Like, I've got like my hand itches because I'm so nervous. Every night I just like itch my hand. This is awful and disgusting. I feel like I looked it up. What does it mean when your hand itches? It either means that you're going to come into a lot of money or you're stigmata. So I am the Antichrist, and I'm going to be reigning in dollar bills. So we'll see. But I'm nervous about the election. I really am. And this is the Halloween show, and my Halloween plea is vote. Please fucking vote. And if you are in a swing state or any state that really isn't California or New York, vote for Biden. Yes, I know Kanye looks good on that ballot because you're like, fuck it. And I know as a progressive, there is a little voice inside of you that's like, fucking what if he loses, dude? The Democratic establishment iced out my boy, Bernie Sanders. Fuck you, I'm not going to work. Yes, I hear that voice. I feel that way every day. Every day. I'm like, why isn't Biden doing better in this debate? And Bernie Sanders could have done better. But we have to rise above, and we have to actually cast our ballot for Joe Biden. Now, a lot of people are mad when I say that. They're like, oh, the lesser of two evils. Yeah, the lesser of two evils is less evil. That's the point. It's actually not that bad, right? This is a good thing, right? It's like I don't know, if like an evil witch, it's like if you get, like, what is evil? Like a witch is evil, right? And if she kidnaps you, that's bad. But if she like also feeds you like the brain of like your brother, that'd be even worse. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm trying to give some ghoulish comparisons here. Don't eat the brain is what I'm trying to say. Like, don't be like Ray Liotta in Hannibal or whatever. I want a less bad Hannibal. What I'm saying is I want a better nightmare. Every day, all I think is, man, I'm fucking tired of this nightmare. I'm bored of this nightmare. This nightmare is fucking hack to me. It is, as a comic, it sucks. It really sucks to have to do Trump material. And I have to do Trump material because I'm a political comedian. I got to talk about the world around me. And it's so hack. He is a joke. I don't want to make any more jokes about him. So do it for me. And also, look, we need, as Linda Sarsour on the show has said, give me a better opponent, right? Give me someone I can fight against. Give me someone who I can build a little bit of daylight in between so I can have time to strategize, And yeah, we should be working against capitalism and against patriarchy and oppression and racism every single day. And your vote, and this is what I'm saying, your vote's not precious. I know if this is sad, but your vote is important, but it's not precious. It really is not. And I learned that when I voted for John fucking Carey. I was an anti-war organizer in New York. I hated Bush. Carey was like, I'm gonna get Osama harder than Bush. And everyone was like, no, you're not. Bush is the literal worst. You think you're gonna beat him in the war on terror? He invented the war on terror. And I held my nose and I voted for Carey, and then he lost. And there was a lot of discrepancies and voting machines that straight up flip votes in Ohio. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, we've done worse. Okay, we've done worse. And Joe Biden, he's not Michael Bloomberg, y'all. Like, think about if it was Michael Bloomberg. Just think about that disgusting reality. It could have been Bloomberg. And I will tell you right now, I would not have voted for Bloomberg. No, I would not. I would have wanted to because it would have been like, ooh, but stick it to Trump. But I would not have. Joe Biden is not Michael Bloomberg. Fuck Michael Bloomberg. We have to, as Greg Palast says, he is a, electoral scholar. He writes a lot about it. He wears like a weird, like Fozzie Bear hat costume. He's the realist. He says you have to overwhelm the steal. So guys, let's overwhelm the steal. We know Republicans are trying shenanigans, voter suppression, voter purging, preventing people from voting. If you have the privilege to even think or know about those things, if you have the privilege to be able to decide that you want to play purity politics and not vote for Joe Biden, then that is a red alarm. That is a red flag to you that maybe you actually should vote, because there are millions of people in this country who are undocumented, who can't vote. There are millions of people locked up on some bullshit because they can't vote, right? There are people on parole who can't vote. So just think about the point of privilege that you're saying when you say, nah, you have to earn my vote. You know, I am a special snowflake. No, be bigger than that. It's important, but it's not precious. That being said, local elections, hell yeah. Propositions, get involved. Fuck yeah. Like those all matter. Anyway, that is my last thing I'll say. I'm like, where are my notes on all this? Last thing I'll say is this. I'm an anarchist. I don't believe in borders. Oh, like what? I don't believe in like militarized states. I think that leads to violence. I don't believe in standing armies. I, believe in concentric circles of non-hierarchical economic participation. You think I'm going to fucking see that in my lifetime? Hell no. Does that mean I swim across borders now? Because I like resist them? Do I just like float along like Leonardo DiCaprio, go to Mexico? Like, I'm going to try and have a vacation because I don't believe in borders. No, I got a passport. And if I can travel, I can travel. This is the reality. So as I wind down, my friends, give us a better nightmare. We need a different nightmare. And without further ado, I'm going to bring in our comedian guest for the hour and change. So excited. She's the host and producer of the Frogtown Comedy Show at Spoke Bicycle Cafe in Los Angeles. Such a good show if you haven't been. She's written for ESPN, MTV, CBS's Game On, starring Keegan-Michael Key. I said Kegel. Rob Gronowski and Venus Williams. Studio 58 on Facebook Watch, and many TV shows that her mom calls wacky. Please welcome Erin Dewey Lennox.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Erin, how are you?
I am going to vote now after that. I wasn't going to, and now I'm going to. No, I already did a long time ago. I voted for Trump. JK. No, I would never. I am good. How are you?
Roque de la Fuente Guerra.
Yeah, fucking Kanye. Can I say fuck on here?
Yes, please. Many times.
Fucking Kanye on the ballot. He didn't even do it on purpose. What was that shit? That's a different party. Ugh. Some other people were like, nah, we want him.
I love how Kanye's America just looks like North Korea because of like the tan jumpsuits we'll all be wearing.
That's another ridiculous, like that to me is like the cult of Trump, thinking that those sweatsuits are expensive. You can get them at Walmart they're just sweatsuits. It's just a plain
Champion's like, what the fuck, y'all? We've been doing this forever. Like Big Five is like, honestly, we went out of business and now Kanye stole our MO. Like
they're just one color sweatsuits. It's ridiculous. Everyone in my family's been wearing them forever, and they're just poor. It's ridiculous. That's not what I'm bitching about, though. Do you want me to start with my bitch?
Oh, please. What are you bitching about? And everyone in the comments, what are you bitching about right now?
Yeah, let's hear it. I was gonna say I was gonna bitch about the hypocrisy of Republicans because I'm from the South and I grew up around a lot of them who, were relatively good people, gave me Pop-Tarts after school and stuff. Like that makes you a good person.
Wow.
But they all claimed it's like family values, financial conservatism, and it's like none of that is anymore. So now what's your excuse? What is it now? But
have you been reaching out to them?
Oh yeah, I DM'd everyone I went to high school with who I know is Republican, and a few are voting blue. One girl who I know, like
I saw your tweet about this.
This is real. She said she wasn't going to vote because she's just like identifies as such a Republican. But like, I remember that she let a bunch of dudes run a train on her in college. Like, this is the hypocrisy I'm talking about. That's not for the can't people.
Get it. So wait, run a train, right? This is a sexual act. And yet she won't politically let the Republicans run a train on her? Is that what? I mean, maybe she's learned her lesson. She started getting fucked.
You know, or like, how is she anti-choice when she got rammed by so many dudes without condoms in college that I am well aware of? Now you don't want people to be able to go to Planned Parenthood? Because I know you went, because I took you.
Did you ask her that? You were like, so like, remember that time? Did you take her for real?
A different time. I don't know if it was that time. A different time we went as a group. It was like everybody was getting birth control. It's just wild. That is wild. It's good of you to reach out, though. I've been doing that to like a couple of family members, step family members, and just checking in, like just making sure, you know, doobie doo, that you're not. What are they doing? Are they gonna?
They gave me cagey answers back, but at least I felt good. You know, all we liberals need is just to pat ourselves on the back, and then you know.
It's the only one who I can't reach out to, my stepbrother's wife. I've been blocked by her on every forum because she's pro-Trump, but I do think that they're now separated, and I do think it's because of me. It's like a little bit, and that is like one of my greatest victories.
Oh my god! Wait, this is your who?
She's pro-Trump, and she doesn't work. Like, who are you? What is that? She lives off my stepbrother's money.
No, and well, that's it. I mean, this is the thing: is behind every conservative woman is a wealthy husband or a wealthy father. Like, and they're like, feminism tells us we can't be by ourselves, and like we can't be self-sufficient, and we're a victim. I'm not a victim. Can I have another money, please? Another money. Is that how you asked for money?
Complaining about going into. She was like, I can't feed my boys when I go into I'm going into the grocery store and people are looking at me mean when I don't have my mask on, and now I can't feed my boys. And it's like, these don't connect at all. You can just put a mask on.
She's like, yeah, but when I feed them, they have the mask on. Like, take it off.
You're doing everything wrong. You're doing it all wrong.
Well, look, I think the positive on all this is if there is some Republican voter suppression, like if people feel uninspired and just want to stay home, like good.
Yeah, which I feel like is what happened somewhat to us last time. There were some people who didn't want to vote Hillary, and they sat their dumbasses home, and now look what. Everything's on fire.
Yes.
You did.
Look at what you did. Look at your man.
Yeah, it's like, we know he's not the best, but we know Biden's not. I called you or DM'd you when it was going to be Biden and was like in tears. But so excited to vote for him now. Thrilled beyond measure.
Yeah. The Kamala next to him really does help. I mean, can you imagine if it was Klobuchar and Biden? It's like, okay.
It's just no bueno. But
all right. Well, why don't we let's see. Any folks on folks in the chat? New Progressive on Twitch is bitching about damn people not wearing masks and COVID spiking. Word. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Tanish23 on YouTube is bitching about whiteness and cap W. What does that mean? Capitalist whiteness or caps lock whiteness? Is that like what Trump has? He's got
not a caps lock. Cap white is not cap W, not cap.
Jersey Jesus on Twitch, great name, is bitching about Dems holding back on packing the courts. Meanwhile, GOP has been doing it for years. Absolutely. Yeah. Just why? Just say that's like, just name what they're doing. Just name it. Everything. Stop feeling like you have to defend everything you do. Just like, yeah, embrace it. Embrace it. This is a good strategy. All right. Well, let's get into the week, Erin. Shall we do this?
If you want to.
If we must.
We can, let's do it. I'm ready.
So much has happened this week, but of course in our world, only 4 things matter. This is the week where. Before I move on, I forgot to mention really quickly that we are donating all of your tips to Seed the Vote. Did I say that already? Oh, maybe I did. Okay. Well, I couldn't remember if I said it. Cool. Great. Now that I ruined this segment. This was the week where 6 states broke COVID records: Alaska, Ohio, Oklahoma, Colorado, New Mexico, and Illinois. I have no joke for this because America is the punchline of coronavirus. That's it. Like 4 Pence aides recently test positive for COVID, and Stephen Miller is still alive. Just call me when he's like on death's door so I can laugh in his face. Like, honestly, Erin, I don't know how you feel about everything, but like once Chris Christie got out of the hospital, I was like, fuck this.
How is he out? How? I did not believe the conspiracies that they didn't actually have it until that one. How is he? He should be dead. There's no one who should be more dead than that man.
He should be outrageous. Yes, it is absolutely outrageous. Like, he looks like his lungs are already full of fluid at all times, you know? Just
they
like
are. It's like slushy or pizza cheese. There's no way that he's okay.
No.
What steroids are they giving these people? Because we should all have. I want them.
I want them
to walk around.
It's all that Regeneron, dude. It's that fetal tissue goodness that if this were the Bush administration, they wouldn't take it. But since this, you know, because it's fetal tissue.
Hypocrisy. It's wild. And none of them said a word. Nobody said a word. The pro-life people.
Oh, yes. Of course
they
not.
Don't care.
Yeah. And also, like, what about prayer? What about prayer? Why don't I just pray? Fucking thoughts and prayers them to death. Like, ugh. Yeah, y'all, be careful. You guys, everyone keep wearing your masks. Even though you can't feed your babies when they're wearing them. Pro tip.
I was going to say, I think my ex-sister-in-law was in every one of those states in the last.
She's going on a COVID road trip.
She probably is. Are they the states he's had rallies in lately?
Honestly, let's see. Ohio, Oklahoma, for sure. I've been thinking that we need like a green book, but for COVID, you know, like,
yes,
like which state to drive through. As someone who believes in science, like here's the states to avoid. That's for the 5 people who liked Green Book. It was a real historical thing, y'all.
You can like the original Green Book and not the fact that it won an Oscar. You can like the thing that existed.
This is true. All right,
I saw the movie because I'm an ally.
I saw the movie, but I'll never tell you what I really think of it. All right. Okay. This was the week where the need for ratings bludgeoned our need for mental health, and NBC held another debate between Trump and Biden. But this time someone gave Biden his spinach, and he was like, why I oughta defend America's honor from Pluto the Terrible. Like he was so, like he was, you know, he's fucking Popeye. Like I'm convinced like this is not an election. It is an episode of Popeye. Like just go watch Popeye right now. And you're like, this is the situation. You know, Olive is like, no, Popeye, help! And Bluto the Terrible is like, so rapey, so creepy.
Yeah, you like Garcon. They both had a real
Yeah, and then Popeye's like, I gotta do everything myself. Like, he's very Biden, like very muttery, and then occasionally, you know, he sucks it.
This was a good metaphor.
Yeah,
it took us on a journey.
Thank you. Trump, for his part, was on 1 or 5 or 20 or however many pills he's taking to keep himself alive. It's impossible to have a debate with Trump, honestly, because he will always have something crazier to say. Like, it's unfair. He's like the guy at a party who always has to one-up everyone's story. You know, you're like, I was once skydiving and I swear I felt the instructor's dick. And he's like, I sucked a skydiving instructor's dick in the air. You're like, what? Okay, well, I guess that's the soundbite. Great.
Was that a soundbite? I would believe you if you said that was part of the debate. Yeah. I stuck the skydiver instructor in the air. I would have when I went skydiving. They
really? Was he hot?
Do so much for you. They're a therapist. They're, you know, a guide. They're a blanket around you in a scary time.
And you might die together.
why not go out with a dick in your mouth? No, I don't support that at all. I was very into Little Kim for a time, but
yeah, so you're gonna go on with a Sprite can in your mouth. All right, Trump. 2 more things. Trump said that even though he, quote, can't see the audience because it's so dark, he is the least racist person in the debate room. which like felt like another way of saying the black people in here might be getting lost in the dark. Like that, right? Like that's exactly what he was saying. And guess what? The black person in the room was getting lost because there was a black woman right in front of him, the moderator of the debate. Which, if he had known she was black, he wouldn't have said that. Except for maybe you. I don't know. Yeah.
It's reverse racism. They believe in that.
Absolutely.
I think that's the thing.
I know.
I love the idea that if he could see, if the lights were brighter, he might just point out one homie and be like, he's less racist than me. We've talked. And actually he sort of thinks that like Puerto Ricans are cool or something, or something. Like, what would he say?
Imagine if he was like, bring the lights up, let's see. No, and then everyone had to tell him their ethnicity. Jesus Christ, he would have.
And he just goes around asking if everyone thinks Jesus was a Jew, and then that's how he like, I don't know. What was he gonna? What's his measure?
I don't know. He's like, I can't tell because it's so dark in here. Like, what? Oh God, that is how do you simultaneously say the most racist thing when you're saying you're the least racist? This is what I'm saying, people.
A gift. He's a gift.
It's a gift.
In that way, he has done the most for black people. Didn't he say that? He's done the most for black people
since Honest Abe.
Right. And that's just like measurably true. So easy to track.
This was the week where, moving on, New Yorker writer and CNN contributor Jeffrey Toobin was caught masturbating on a work Zoom call. Keyword, right? The keyword obviously is caught. Okay, because let's be real, it happens a lot.
This was not the first time.
This wasn't the first time. And how many people in your workplace have probably tried to do the same, have done the same? Also, though, they can't expect you to be on Zoom calls all day long. I feel like that's just that's sticking it to, the boss man. It's just.
Question. What was he doing when we were still in offices? Was he just going to the bathroom real quick to rub one out? Obviously he can't go very long without. We don't think he
under
was,
the CNN
on.
desk, maybe under the CNN desk, there's just a little fleshlight that they have fastened there.
What happened? He went he was doing it and then didn't realize he was on, and then he went like this and it showed his dick. I just showed that I'm wearing leggings. Is that embarrassing?
He showed his leggings. No, apparently, so there's a little more context, but his coworkers knew he was clearly on a different call. So it seemed like he was talking to someone else or looking at a different window. And then, he folded the computer down and exposed his dick. The best part, though, of the story in my book is that it was on a call that was, and this is real, running an election simulation of what would happen in various scenarios coming out of November.
So why didn't he just claim that he was being Trump, or he was supposed to be? He was being the court, right? Which is not inaccurate.
Jizz all over this process, exactly.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't blame him, because if that was the case, who doesn't envision Trump losing the election and immediately get horny? We are all gonna be able to come so good. I'm sorry, this is a very sexual episode, but think about it. How much more relaxed are we gonna be? Oh,
yeah, my shoulders just dropped even at the light suggestion. We're talking about someone jerking off at work, and I did get more relaxed because you said Trump might lose. And I just, spa day.
Spa day. This was the week where finally our Lord and patron saint of satire, Sacha Baron Cohen, released a follow-up to Borat, which was so fucking funny. It featured an actress playing his daughter, Maria Bakalova, who absolutely crushes it. And in particular, one scene basically tries to seduce Rudy Giuliani, and it seems like he fell for it. In a bedroom scene, he appears to be touching his dick, and then Borat busts in and is like, no, she's too old for you. She's 15. So funny. Giuliani, of course, claims he was tucking in his shirt, which if that is the case, I didn't realize they made shirts dick shaped.
Do they go around? That's how they stay tucked. It goes around the shaft and sort of loops and hooks. And that's the only way, because of his stature. It's like
a dick suspender.
And it's
honestly, suspenders, but to your shaft.
It's ageist to think. Yes. He clearly wanted to stick it in so badly. I mean, we can't say that he knew she was underage, because she didn't seem underage in that thing, but it was disgusting. My husband is also in that movie, not to brag.
Oh, I know.
Did you see him?
I saw him. And I was like, wait a minute. What the fuck?
People have been like, why is your husband at a Trump rally? And I'm like, I can't tell you why, but it's not what you think.
So Erin's husband is the person who at the rally in DC before Borat sings.
Oh,
right?
I don't know.
Wherever it was, the rally that he introduces Borat, and I'm going to find out why. I'm going to find out.
I'm not at liberty to say. Also, he definitely didn't tell me everything. He has to sign so much shit.
Damn. Like, can we just say, though, with Giuliani, like, if it's that easy to pass a honey trap and, like, get him to fall for a honey trap, then how much compromat does Russia have on him?
So much. Like, release the P tape. He has one as well.
Yeah, there's just libraries of compromat of Giuliani. And they say, like, intelligence officials are like, we think Giuliani's been compromised by the Russians. It's like, yeah, motherfucker, it's so easy. This is like some Bugs Bunny shit. Just like dress up Bugs Bunny as a girl and like, boo, boo, doo, doo. And like Giuliani.
The girl Bugs Bunny is hot, though. Remember Space Jam? She's, like, overwhelming. It's a little much.
Dude, Matt, my boyfriend, always talks about that fucking Space Bunny and is like, oh, my God.
Honestly sexist, but how she's the only girl in the whole movie and she's just, like, all tits and, like, booty shorts playing basketball. And you're like, why is this even okay? But she's hot. I'll say that. I would do compromat for her. She's so hot.
Apparently people in the chat, we're talking a lot about the 60 Minutes interview. Yeah, I mean, so ridiculous. Trump, if you haven't heard, he's trying to get out in front of this story of him being made to look bad on 60 Minutes. So he released like 20 minutes of footage.
He calls it 20 minutes? Did he call it?
No, but that's really funny. It's only 26 minutes. Clearly he picks and chooses. I don't know. I don't get who. I think it's basically women. If women like ask him a hard question, he's like, how dare you?
At all. Just any question. The NBC town hall, whatever, was like, the questions were not hard. And he acted like he was, I don't know. What's a hard question? I don't even know what one would be. But he's acting like he's being like, his fingernails were being pulled out or something.
Absolutely. In fact, I thought that honestly, like the NBC debate moderator, Kristen Welker, I think her name is. I can't remember her last name, but I do think she did a good job. I also think that there are questions in there that are so skewed. Like, something, for example, trying to pin Biden on like, do we need another shutdown, and getting him to like say that we should close the economy. Like, NBC, you guys know whether we need another shutdown. Like, experts know. You've been talking to scientists and experts for months now. So you kind of know that the answer is yes. Like, the answer is, I mean, not a complete and total shutdown of everything, but like the answer is there needs to be a lot more precautions, especially in states where the COVID cases are on the rise. Why are you pretending suddenly that it's like a political thing to call for that,
Right. And if there just was if there was an actual one for any period of time, we wouldn't have to have any more of this half-assed ones. Like,
exactly.
You just get it over.
Californians, I feel like, are going to flip. Like in 3 months, are going to be like, fuck this. It's not real. Because we've been sacrificing. I want to build the wall between California and the rest of this country.
Yeah. Well,
Do it.
it's really like the western coast of California, because you don't have to go very far in.
No, I know. I mean, it's east of the 5, or west of the 5. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Whatever. Let's cut out the Dust Bowl. It's fine. There's someone from Bakersfield on here. Shout out to Bakersfield. We love you.
I do love the desert, and it's where a lot of strange people go to hide, and I appreciate that.
And just like start, like making wind chimes and selling them on Etsy, and I'm totally there for it.
Yeah.
Erin, let's move on to the sitch for the week. We're talking about the future of the Democratic Party. We're talking about progressives changing this country, talking about taking back the House. This is the sitch. And joining us for the sitch, he is a progressive strategist and campaign staffer who in 2016 worked for the Bernie Sanders campaign, and in 2018 worked for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Ever heard of her? Currently, he is the communications director for Justice Democrats, a progressive organization best known for recruiting AOC and Jamal Bowman to run for Congress and for helping elect and grow the squad. Please welcome Waleed Shahid.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
What's up?
Hi. Waleed, how are you?
I'm good. I had my first cold experience, people trying to hang out in the cold yesterday. So I'm still feeling like, wow, winter is gonna suck in New York. But everyone went home so early. So.
I know it's that's how it is always in the Bay, where it's so cold and you're like, well, I guess we'll hang out until we get too cold or we have to pee. Bye.
You guys don't hang out inside ever?
No, generally no. But we didn't hang out inside before the pandemic.
Right, that's what I mean.
No, we're very, very strange people. No, I'm just. I think I've used
New
a
York's
porta potty, guys.
Where you're there's nowhere to go inside except bars.
I know. Well, now they're all outside.
Yeah. Well, in New York, you can hang out on people's rooftops. That's the nice thing.
Oh.
But,
if you can get there, if you're I was.
Yeah. There's ladders and stuff. It's a terrible situation.
It's very precarious.
Are you climbing up fire escapes out there?
Everyone is trained to be Spider-Man since COVID started. So
I love it. Waleed, I am so glad to have you here. I obviously want to get your thoughts on the lay of the land, the general election. You might have heard my very long diatribe at the beginning of the show, but I guess I want to start with saying Justice Democrats endorse Joe Biden. Justice Democrats, Green New Deal, Medicare for All has endorsed, Joe Biden, who is championing the fact that he doesn't believe in Medicare for All. And you guys released an ad and spent money on an ad for Joe Biden. What was the strategy there? Why are you doing this? Don't the moderate Dems have this all in the bag?
So one of the interesting things about that ad project was that the grant maker who wanted to fund it, she explicitly wanted to give a progressive organization money because she hated the Lincoln Project so much. And she was like, there's so much money going to the Lincoln Project to make these shitty ads. I would like to help raise money to give to a progressive organization to, create ads. And I think that, the progressive left is still young. And the reason we said yes to it was to have our young ad makers have the experience of trying to make a campaign ad on the presidential level. Mm-hmm. Our ad is I don't know if people have seen it, but the ad is very tongue-in-cheek about how lots of people are not super excited about Joe Biden. The ad actually does well with people who are undecided about Joe Biden because the woman herself in the ad is undecided about Joe Biden.
Right.
So that's the backstory of why we decided to do the ad. None of the money for the ad came from money we would have spent elsewhere. It was a grant specifically for a presidential campaign. But
so someone's I got all this cash, but you have to make an ad for Joe Biden, but I don't want to give it to the Lincoln Project. And really, I don't even trust the Democratic Party to make a good ad.
I respect that. I think it's good to have people. The Lincoln, they're helping us right now, but it's going to be a dark day when we have to say goodbye to them. It's coming fast.
When they're wait, Biden might do something on climate change.
Yeah. It's going to be sad when I have to unfollow them, but I'm ready. And I think it's good that you guys are filling in those gaps and getting ready. Just warming up.
Absolutely. But right. So, okay, I get it. That makes sense. I guess before we go into the specifics about different candidates, what's your like read on and pitch to the lefty holdouts who are still uncertain about Mr. Joe Biden?
Yeah, I think if you're like in a state like California or New York and you like want to vote Green Party, I'm like, it's okay. I'm not going to judge you, but I do think that there is like a case to make about giving Donald Trump a resounding defeat through giving Joe Biden a huge margin of victory in the popular vote and the Electoral College so that Joe Biden feels like he has a mandate to govern as progressive as he needs to, as he should. I also think that, it is really the margin. There was a significant margin of third-party voters that could have tipped the election toward Hillary Clinton in 2016. Joe Biden is running on the most progressive platform of any Democrat in like the past 40 years. And that is thanks to progressive voices, progressive activists, progressive movements, and the things that he wants to do on healthcare and climate and college and even criminal justice reform. While they might not be everything we want, they are much better and will improve people's lives way more than anything Donald Trump is proposing. And so I do think, I'm not someone who's going to sell Joe Biden as Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren, but there's only two choices on the ballot. And I think if we give him a resounding margin of victory, I think we have some room to push him.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that we saw in the debate him starting to embrace his own plan rather than running from it for the first time. It's like, yes, I do believe in banning fracking on federal land. He was sort of mumbling through that part. But he also was like, yes, I believe fossil fuels and fossil fuel companies and oil companies are polluters. And it's like, you think what? And it's like, yes, motherfucker. I'm like, my eyes are open. So there is a pivoting of like, embrace the progressive parts of your platform if it really exists. I would say the one thing, and however you guys think about this, but like with criminal justice, he really had no answer. He apologized for the 94 crime bill. He's done it before. He's done it again. It was good. But like, you're getting called out by fucking send federal troops to Portland to police BLM protesters, Trump. Like, you can't spin that around and be like, you're sending Gestapo on the streets because of peaceful protesters. Like, what the fuck? This is so ridiculous. And yet he can't even say that, which is like a little bit of a red flag for me. I'm like, why can't you just mention like how much this president has completely repressed BLM demonstrators, if you're talking about racial justice?
He also has a criminal justice plan that he forgot to mention at all, where he was just like, he just got cut up in 1994, where he was like, forgot that he has a plan that, isn't great, but it's decent, where, he does want to reform mandatory minimum sentencing. He does want to do bail reform. He wants to abolish the death penalty. He could have mentioned any of those things. But yeah, he just got stuck on the 1994 stuff. I think it hurts his feelings because it's his champion. Like, I don't know what it is, but he has slightly improved on some of these things. I mean, we had a whole news cycle this weekend where they were like, Biden wants to transition off fossil fuels and oil. We're like, yes, that is what he wants to do. Let's talk about it.
The rest of the country, even Republican. It's like, it's a job creator. It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. Coal is not coming back for the people in the back. Okay, well, let's pivot to specifically Justice Democrats and what you all have done and what a huge year you've had and supporting progressive candidates who won their primaries: Cori Bush in Missouri, Carey Eastman in Nebraska, Jamal Bowman in New York. And
so cool.
So fucking cool. I mean, Cori Bush's win was like, and Jamal, but I mean, all of these wins. And I believe Carey Eastman, that wasn't her first time running, was it?
Marie Newman.
Oh, Marie Newman.
Yeah. This is her second time running.
Okay. Yeah. So it's like
in Chicago.
Yeah. I mean, I guess my question is, what were these districts like before? Were they all safely blue? And are you guys mostly running and feel like the strategy is to run against more centrist, moderate Democrats in safely blue districts? Or have you been able to flip red districts?
Well, I just wanted to start out by saying I'm having a little deja vu in this interview because the first time we ever talked was when you made me do a therapy session with you at the DNC in 2016 when Bernie Sanders dropped out. You wanted to make me talk about my feelings, my stages of grief. And, 4 years later, we have many things I'm happy to report on.
Yay. You've improved so much, Waleed.
Thank you, therapist. I like to hear some positive feedback. So, but yeah, I think that, so these districts are heavily blue, the ones that we won in. They're places where like President Obama and Hillary Clinton won like 80-20, 90-10. But the issue is that the voters in those districts, these are really diverse districts. They're heavily young. And just the Democrat, like if the best we can do in the bluest parts of the country are like Dianne Feinstein and Elliot Engel and Andrew Cuomo, like Joe Crowley, then those are the bluest parts of the country. Like if that's the best we can do, then the Democratic Party has a fundamental problem. And that's the hypothesis that Justice Democrats is putting to the test. We do endorse in red districts. Carey Eastman in Nebraska is running in a red district now. These are, if we can get enough of these Bernie voters and enough young people and progressives and people of color to just choose an alternative, then we can really send a signal to the Democratic Party that there's a new generation of people coming. And that's who Jamal is, that's who Corey is, that's who Marie is. And to be honest, I didn't know we could, after AOC, I was like, they're never going to let us win another one of these. It'll be so, because that was so hard. And, it's been way harder this year, but seems like there are voters who are hungry for change. And even in Jamal's district, there might have been people who voted for Joe Biden and Jamal in the primary too. So people can be two minds about things too.
Absolutely. I feel like whatever happens, I've said before, whatever happens in this election, I do think either the Republican Party or the Democratic Party will be completely undone by this election. I don't know if you agree with that. I don't know where you stand with that. I mean, for me, I think if Biden loses, even he said himself, and this was really fascinating, the guy is a fairly honest person, because he was like, someone asked him like, what if you lose? He was like, well, then I ran a shitty campaign. Well, then I did a really bad job. And think about it. If you can't win against Trump under COVID conditions, right? That doesn't say a great thing about your campaign. But I do think that, so if he loses, you're remaking the Democratic Party. Obviously, I think a lot of folks like myself making these big old pleas to vote for Biden when he drops the ball, that changes the whole situation. And I think that the Republicans, if Donald Trump loses, you're going to see those Lincoln Project folks are going to be like, let us take the party now, yes. But like in terms of remaking, how do we continue to remake the Democratic Party? How do you get a Joe Biden to embrace the legacy of FDR and leave behind the legacy of Clinton and neoliberalism if he wins?
I think the first thing is that we have to win more seats in Congress. I mean, I think there was this myth that like if we just elected Bernie Sanders as president, everything would be fine. But we really didn't have, the squad is just 4 people. The Progressive Caucus could be more, like do more shit all the time. You just need way more people in there to start. And, right now with the squad, with Jamal, with Corey Marie, that's like 7 people. You have Mondaire Jones, an 8th person. Like even with that small of a group of people who are willing to speak out on things, it really does make a difference. And you have to remember all this stuff just started on this electoral front really 4 years ago. And so it's still a pretty young left. I know people are like, rightfully impatient about things not happening. But I think if we elect more people to the Congress, they'll have way more negotiating power because all the bills have to come through Congress. I also think Joe Biden, like he is not someone who's super ideological. There's this funny interview. I mean, it's not funny. It's actually really horrible. There's an interview with Chuck Schumer where there's an interview with Chuck Schumer where he says the first question I ask anyone who interviews for a job with me is I ask them where I am on a 0 to 100 conservative liberal spectrum, which is can you just imagine being in an interview and being just asked the math equation as your first thing? But he says, I'm a 75, which means he's been a 75 for 30 years. And I think Joe Biden has been a 75 for 30 years, where he's just in the middle of the Democratic Party. So as long as other people around these establishment Democrats,
75. I don't.
That's what he says.
He's 76 years old.
I thought you were talking about his age.
No, but they're just kind of weather vanes where they're like, if the party is moving to the left, they're going to move to the left, but you have to move the whole weather around for these people because they have no real beliefs about anything.
Absolutely. I mean, it reminds me of Veep. I mean, Veep is so cynical. It's hilarious, but it's so cynical. But the favorite part is when they're like, "Why do you want to be president?" And she's like, well, does not know, just doesn't know. And yes, constantly looking around and looking for approval. And look, I think Kamala also is a very capable person, but I do think she falls in that same vein of I want to be liked, so, pressure her, and I think those folks, they're more open to pressure. I worry when Biden starts to do the epiphany talk, when Biden starts to do the, Republicans, the bipartisan talk, the president of all talk. I was saying last week on the show that Jacinda Ardern, she re-won in New Zealand, and she said something amazing when she was asked about because the Labour Party now in New Zealand has this some the majority of the seats, the majority, they got the majority of the votes. And she was like, look, I am a president to all New Zealand and Australians, but I have a mandate. And she said, I have a mandate. Clearly, the voters gave me a mandate. So back to what you were saying earlier, it's if we do give Biden a mandate, I hope he uses it, right? I hope he says, I won, and there's a strong pull to have things like Medicare for all and or a public option which is not a public option. And what am I saying? Whatever, a Green New Deal, exactly. All the things that we want. So I guess, what do you think? I mean, the first time we heard about this word Biden care was this debate, I think. Now he's saying Biden care, which is what? Just Obamacare without gutting the public option.
Mm-hmm.
What do you make of that as someone who's in an organization that supports Medicare for all?
Oh, I think Biden care is pretty trash relative to where we need to be. Even on its own merits, there are many, Beto O'Rourke ran on a more progressive public option. Buttigieg ran on a more progressive public option. The biggest issue with Biden care is that it preserves the dumbass employer-based model that we have that everyone has seen through COVID doesn't function. And so while it's an improvement on the ACA, I'll give him that. There are many more people who are poor but can't get Medicaid who would get healthcare through this. Overall, if you work at a large company, you cannot. If your employer is paying for your healthcare, the employer cannot buy the public option for you. You basically have to pay for the public option from your own wallet. That is Biden care. And so
that's crazy.
And so there's been people like Ezra Klein and Matt Iglesias at Vox, who are not leftists, have been criticizing Biden over this proposal because it's completely preposterous. And he has not been that detailed anytime he talks about the public. He just says he says 3 sentences about it. So there is room that it might change in the upcoming administration. But it just doesn't meet the moment. Maybe it made sense before COVID, maybe. But especially post-COVID, he has so much more room to move on Biden care. Again, it's definitely an improvement on the ACA. But in terms of even in the realm of public option stuff, if Beto O'Rourke and Pete Buttigieg are running to the left.
Wait, how does it improve on the ACA? Sorry, I don't know anything.
Because you could. There are a number of people who can't get Obamacare because the states won't let the funding come through. And so this would be a bypass through it where they could just get the public option on the Obama exchanges. That said,
Medicaid expansion. Is that what it means? Medicaid expansion would immediately go through because a lot of Republican states are holding back on expanding Medicaid. Right. But then would it create another option? I mean, clearly we don't know. He hasn't been talking about it, but would it create it'd be you get a little discount on your Obamacare, or is it just expanding Medicaid?
Well, expanding Medicaid is a different thing. There's people who don't qualify for the Medicaid expansion who are still poor, who would be able to get
the public option.
And then if you're like, the idea is basically like, if you're a freelancer or something like that, this would be a cheaper thing for you on the Obamacare networks.
Oh, dude, I fucking need. Oh my god. Oh, yeah. I will defend the ACA from the Republicans, but I will fucking trash it from the left because it is a trash. Like,
yeah, are you on it?
Oh yeah, I'm on it. This year, I mean, like, I'm fine, I'm okay, but it's fucking expensive, and it is every year it goes up by $25, $30, $40, and you're like, I'm sorry,
it's so confusing,
right? And you're like, did a pap smear just like, did we make a lot of technological advances on the one time I go to the doctor? Oh wait, have I not been to the doctor all year this year because there's a fucking pandemic and I'm like trying to not get sick and or make way for other people? Yeah, like, do I get money back on that? No. It's utter shit. You can't get around.
It's so confusing. We spent 5 minutes trying to figure out what this thing is. Like, it's just like, it could be way simpler.
Yeah, I don't spend 5 minutes figuring out anything. If it's longer than 5 minutes, not worth it. But Erin, I know you have a personal story related to healthcare and
do I ever?
Yeah, so I want to just tell us about that and like how you came around to Medicare for All and what that meant in your life.
I don't know if it came. So my father had Parkinson's, and he was a carpenter. So he's one of these people who would fall into this category where he worked really hard, but he never had health insurance as far as I can remember throughout my whole childhood, because it would be like something he would have to buy for himself. And he was always like, I bet on myself. Or like, that was never, he wasn't going to do that. And he did get it when he got diagnosed with Parkinson's, but also the Parkinson's made him unable to work. And then, so the number of things that Parkinson's does to your brain chemistry already is compounded with not knowing if you can support yourself. Like the depression that comes with not knowing how you're going to be able to do that. And he lived in North Carolina, and it's very difficult, even getting like, he never was able to get, what's it called when you can't work because you're hurt? What is that called?
Yeah, workman's comp. Yeah.
Or like disability. He was never able to get that in North Carolina. And it's like, he has a diagnosis of Parkinson's, which is a terminal disease that he was into it, carrying things upstairs and things that are just completely unsafe for him because there was no other option there was also, there's so many experimental drugs for it because they don't know how to cure it. And he couldn't try any of them because it was just financially out of reach for us. So he did end up taking his own life about 4 years into the illness because he just didn't see a future that was, he didn't want to bankrupt us and then also be sick. So, and it is a terminal, sorry. Thank you. But if I was like, I just grin when I'm nervous. You can't that's you can't take a comic out of a comic, right?
Yeah.
The darkest jokes I've ever gotten in my life were after my dad died. Our comedian friends will send you very dark jokes after your father commits suicide from Parkinson's. Some were like, it should have been your mom. Okay. Anyway, moving on. So but the moral of it was that I learned in a really quick and tough way how messy, bureaucratic, like how the system is set up to not give you any money, to not help people who, and it's like, my dad was working hard his whole life. It wasn't like he was wanting something for free. He was just, there was no path for him. Yeah. There wasn't a way that was,
because he was self-employed, right? He was self-employed carpenter, not part of a union that would give you health care. And he didn't qualify for something like Medicaid, and you have to be.
I don't even know if they have that in North Carolina. Like, I mean, North Carolina is rough.
Yeah.
I feel like I looked into it really hard and there was just no system for him. There was nothing that would. Maybe it was because he also made like a certain amount of money the year before, and they wouldn't look at, well, he's not going to be able to work going forward.
Mm-hmm. That's awful. I mean, and this, I think I I like did a special for MSNBC about healthcare, and it was I should have, we didn't know each other then really, Erin, but I should have interviewed you because I was like, I don't want to get too sad, but I want to get some sad stories. But interviewing a comic about her dad's suicide is like, hey, but
I have like 20 minutes on it now.
Really nice. Hell yeah. I mean, and yes, this is the shit that like, I don't want to be having this conversation in 10 years. I don't want to be having these debates. I don't want, more stories. Like I don't want to do a special. I don't want more, Sicko came out, 20 years ago or something?
And also, like, for the past 30 years, voters have said healthcare is their number one issue. It's just like, how many times can you just not address people's issues? And then they spent the Obamacare trying to solve it without doing anything about the private insurance industry, really.
No, this was Obamacare existed, and his health insurance with Parkinson's was $1,200 a month for one person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's possible. Like with supplements or whatever. It's not sustainable for a person who's not working. Yeah.
No, that's ridiculous. And then
we did a GoFundMe for his. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just saying we did a GoFundMe for his medical expenses, and then we ended up using it for his funeral. That's real. That's what that money went to, because he looked at that money and was like, this will never be enough. It's like, this is 6 months of health insurance. It doesn't even cover, looking into electroshock therapy or whatever weird shit he wanted to do.
Absolutely. And it is something, but you're right. Like these are the things like, we're so focused on innovation when it comes to medicine that we don't actually, it's such bullshit. Like all this research and development money that the fucking pharmaceutical companies use, fuck you. Like, fuck that. I'm sorry. Like if you work in that field, that's fine. But like, fuck that, man. Everyone should be able to have regular doctor's visits and treatments. Like Parkinson's is a treatable disease. It is treatable. You can make your life okay if you are able to access the medicine, if you're able to access the doctors and the visits and the specialists, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, it's something that our country just, we just look like a fucking third world country. And hey, I wish it were as lovely and nice and we had better beaches if we were a third world country. Erin, thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
I'm happy. Thank you for letting me talk about it. It's good. I think it's good it feels important, and to be able to be like, we need this to change. So more people don't lose their cool parent. Okay.
Exactly. Hell yeah. They're carpenter parent. The parent that knew how to build shit.
The thing that makes it even more infuriating is that you can just drive a couple miles across the border in Canada, and then it's just totally different. Like there's nothing, you just walk in, you show your ID, and you get care and you don't pay for it. And it's just like, just a border that separates what their healthcare system is and what ours is.
Dude, this is what abortion, safe abortions are going to be like under Amy Coney Barrett. Is we're going to just be like doing like Mexico spring break, but with abortions, which sounds kind of tight.
Yeah, not too far off from my own
reality.
No, I've never.
Oh, your own experience. Yeah. No, dude, right now, this is one of the things we didn't talk about in the special that we couldn't include, but this is straight up. States like Utah and a lot of other states, and this is why drug prices are super important. They're sending their state employees. It is cheaper for them to send them to Mexico, all expenses paid, pick them up in a limousine, stay in a 5-star hotel, and then they go get their meds like Humira or whatever else, all the shit that's overpriced, their insulin, and get them in Mexico and fly them back. Obviously, you can't leave them there, fly them back. It's cheaper for state governments to do that than to subsidize them buying meds in the US. That's like the fucking... Isn't that insane? So like these trips to Mexico to buy cheaper stuff because of our healthcare system so broken already exists.
Wow.
Yeah, I really wanted to travel over the border to do that, and we weren't able to. But dude, Waleed, Erin, you guys are the best. I'm so happy you're here. We have one more segment. This has flown by. but I want you both back. Please.
I would love to come back. That was really fun.
Let's do it.
Fuck yeah, it's not over, y'all. We have one more segment, but before we get there, remember, tip us, TBR-live, TBR live on Cash App, Venmo, TBR-live. Thank you for those in advance. The tip jar is a little klingly. You need some bigger bills in there, you know? You don't want the ching-a-ling. Anyway. All right, last segment. We're doing it. It is Halloween. We believe in progressive policies. Let's put them together. That couldn't go wrong. This is Make It Sexy. All right. So I will start off and say that 4 years ago, when Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton were running for president, I went to a party dressed as the skeleton in Trump and Hillary's closet.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I wore a skeleton outfit, and then on each of the bones, I wrote emails or like super predator and, grab them by the P word.
You just have Epstein on both arms.
Epstein wasn't a thing, man. We were so young and naive back then in 2016. Okay, so I'm at this like rave-ish party, and I took an edible, so I was way too high, and then I immediately felt self-conscious, of course, for dressing like a fucking nerd. And nobody got the outfit. Nobody thought it was anything interesting except for just the dorkiest person in the entire semi-empty rave/party comes over to me and is like, I get it. I like it.
No.
And I was like, oh God. I want to take it off. I mean, thank you, man. Wherever you are, if you remember me, I appreciate you.
What was he wearing?
Thank you, man.
I don't know.
What was he wearing?
He was like dressed like Greg
like
Palast. Yeah, he was
weirdly. He was the super nerd. He saw it coming.
He was just pointing out like hot women in the party. I'm like, yeah, she looks underage. But we're making Halloween costumes sexy. Erin, I know you have sort of a similar story on this.
Oh, I also did that. I like to go as like things that were in the zeitgeist. I once went as like a congressional aide back when someone was accused of sleeping with little boy congressional aides. I can't remember who it was. That's how
Did you go as a boy congressional aide?
Yes, I did, and I looked adorable.
Oh my God.
And then
you would definitely want to touch my butt.
Yeah, little short, just cute little short little short suits. Yeah. Adorable. And once I went as an improvised explosive device during the Iraq War. Yes, I am old enough to have been drinking and doing cocaine during the Iraq War. And people, actually, everybody liked it except for the person I was dating who made a big scene about it. And he was dressed as a German child. And I was like, this isn't, you dressed as a German cannot yell at a Jew about being an improvised explosive device.
How did you even wear that?
It was so sick. It was a cape, and on the inside I had my friend's spray paint kabloom, and then on the outside I taped trash and stuff, and then I had a little antenna, and so I would hide like this, and then when people came around the corner I'd go kabloom.
Oh, that's very cool.
I feel like if I did that I would get in trouble, but another story.
And then also I want to acknowledge that feels wrong that I was able to and you cannot.
I don't know if it's wrong. I think it's. I don't know. I'll let you have that.
I was trying to point out.
I don't know if I want that.
Get it? I'm exploding. I am exploding. No.
I was trying to point out that the war was bad. It might not have been a good way to do it.
No, that's the
what I was going for.
That's the cutest IED ever, though. Like, what if like Hurt Locker was just like, kabloom!
You're dead.
You're dead. All right. So, some ideas. How would you make the Green New Deal sexy?
Okay.
Waleed?
It obviously has to be a witch costume, like a sexy witch with a tiny window, or she's making a tiny she's like a mechanic. I don't know.
Why?
Have you heard about the tiny window thing?
Because she's green.
Oh, what's the tiny
window? No, the witch
window
from. You've never heard about the tiny window thing?
No.
Oh, Trump has gone on a rampage for like the past 2 weeks where he's like, they're AOC and the Green New Deal. They're going to make all the windows tiny.
Oh, wait.
And we're like, everyone is like, what are you talking about?
God, I can't wait when he's funny again.
Nobody knows what he's talking about.
So great when he's funny again. I can't wait.
I know. Green New Deal.
I think you just go naked. That's the sexy Green New Deal. Is you just don't use anything that was made with fossil fuels, which is everything. So like, you can't wear anything.
I think it's definitely like recyclables and compostable things painted green, and then someone has to sign somewhere. It has to be like also like there has to be a deal.
You want to be the bill itself.
Yeah, you have to be the bill.
Okay. I like
the bill, but surrounded by trash.
What if you just get it all tattooed, like henna,
but like a little titty showing? It's got to be sexy. Yeah, or that. Yeah, henna. Sorry, I said titty. Waleed laughed. It's what it is.
Titty's a funny word.
It's a good word. All right, Medicare for all.
Aaron, I would go with my dad committing suicide.
Oh my God.
Guys, I can say it, okay? No, what would I go with? Medicare for all, I think you go as like a reverse skeleton. How do you go with someone who would be dead but isn't?
Just a live person?
You go as an alive person. You go as someone who's not dead.
Like, what are you supposed to be? Oh, I'm if the skeleton had actually had healthcare.
I've had a lot of
right. I wouldn't give you candy, dude. First of all, Medicare for all, you got to be a sexy nurse. Gotta be sexy, national healthcare nurse.
Sexy Bernie Sanders as a nurse.
Oh yeah, bald.
That's a good costume. Can I have that?
Yeah,
you should just my backyard where my children are.
First of all, a sexy Bernie Sanders costume contest is the best costume. We have to.
I think you just have to have the bald head wig, his hair wig, and then just like a bikini. Ridiculous.
I want to put his bald hair, but like as a white bush, like wear like a little white bush.
Now we're talking. Now we're getting.
Put some glasses.
We really room wrote this, and it feels good. I think we got to the most important place we could.
Defunding the police. How do we do that as a sexy Halloween costume?
Well,
you could do some handcuffs.
Definitely need handcuffs. That's very sexy.
I mean,
they're unlocked.
Uniforms are. Listen, I'm anti-police, but the uniform is hot. We can't.
Yeah,
I don't want to lie to people. The uniform is sexy. So maybe you just go as
you love
a
your
cop.
brothers and sisters in blue.
I think it's just being unarmed. Like you just you're still a cop, but you're just unarmed, and you're like,
how do you?
Or you're like a mental health care professional, which I hope if and when we get mental health care professionals, they will have to wear the tightest, hottest, like button bursting outfits, and be like, is there a problem? Breathe. And you're like, oh my God.
It would help. Have you ever had a hot EMT? It is like you get your shit together quick. You got to really focus up.
What panic attack? I'm fine.
I'm fine. I'm great. What's your number?
Yeah, exactly. It's first of all, I've had hot firefighters, which pretty much is, it's like redundant, but they're fun. I would potentially lock myself in my own house or bathroom just to see if I could get the bomberos out, to I want to say it in Spanish because it's sexier.
The firefighter is basically a defunded cop already, in terms of the vibe.
Oh yeah,
go as a firefighter.
Oh my God, I love that. And then just tell people you're a defunded cop, so that they understand it better.
No, I'm not a firefighter.
We're saying this as if anyone can go anywhere. I can't go anywhere because.
Is anyone gonna go as anything? I'm doing fuck all.
My child is gonna go as a car. He's going to be a car. Electric? Should I make it electric?
Definitely a Tesla. It's got to be a Tesla. I've seen these things. Have you guys seen the remote control cars that kids have where they drive around, but they're just in a giant SUV, like a Mercedes, but like a baby Mercedes?
I always wanted one of those as a kid. Never got one.
Me too. Same.
It's hard for me.
Dude, I had power wheels, or I wanted a power wheel. We didn't even have that option.
Well, we had go-karts, but that was like to get around the farm. They weren't like for fun, but we had fun on them.
If you and they were saying, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
The fuck is that? A Tesla?
Well, those are slow. So you would be like, everyone would make fun of you. The ones for kids are really slow. The ones for the go-karts that are not for children that we rode on are really fast.
Waleed and Erin, before I say goodbye, Waleed, any final parting words before we say goodnight? I don't think I'm going to talk to you before the election, but I do want some words of wisdom. Do you have any?
Words of wisdom.
If there's a coup, we talked about a coup last week with Joshua Russell.
Smart guy. I just think I'm pretty optimistic that Joe Biden will win. Democrats will have the Senate, and they just went through this whole thing in 2009 where Republicans didn't negotiate with them on anything. And I think we will just fast forward through like any sort of semblance of that, like Joe Biden will negotiate with Mitch McConnell or Republicans, that he'll only be negotiating with Democrats. And that means that he'll have to negotiate with the left of the party, the center of the party, and the right of the party. And that's good. So I'm excited
even if McConnell and his like blood hands are still in office.
If Democrats have the Senate, but it'll be a lot of, people forget how many movements and protests there were against Obama. Like all that shit is going to happen again. Like Dreamers, Black Lives Matter, like the climate movement, Fight for 15, like all those people are going to come back to protest Biden and do sit-ins and do rallies and protests. And like, that's good. Instead of protests about like, hey, maybe we should have voting.
Yeah, really. I'm excited to be able to protest for legitimate things again.
I know. Agreed. All right. Well, thank you so much, Waleed. How can we follow you and your work with Justice Dems?
JusticeDemocrats.com. We have a big campaign in Nebraska for Cara Eastman. She's going up against a Republican. She supports Medicare for all, Green New Deal, all that stuff. And then I'm @ Waleed Shahid, because there's apparently another Waleed Shahid out there who has the real
that guy.
I know.
Not in our hearts.
Not in our hearts. Thank you so much, Waleed. Everyone check out Cara Eastman's campaign. Kick them a few bucks, as well as this show. Erin, tell us how we can find you.
I'm on
how
Twitter.
Can we find you? Okay.
Just give you my home address. I'm sorry with that.
Please.
I am we're the white family on the block with the Black Lives Matter flag out. Is that how you find us? I think.
The only one.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, I'm Erin Dewey Lennox on Twitter and on Instagram. And when we're allowed to be in public again, come to see my show. Francesca's been on it. It's really fun.
It's such a good time. Erin, take care. Have a good Halloween. Good luck with the car. The car costume, man. I'm glad. Actually, I think I would really like to make a car costume for a child right now. I think that's exactly the kind of therapy that I need. And thank you all so much for being here. Thanks for your super chats. I'm sorry I didn't get to read them all, but I super appreciate them. And I'm sure they were great, and I'm going to read them later. And everyone else saw them, so don't DM me. And also thank you so much to our producer, Becca Rufer, to Dorsey Shaw and Kelly Carey, who've been doing some work in the back end, making sure the YouTube is populated and the algorithm smiles in my general direction. Once again, remember to vote. Remember to vote for those who can't. And remember to vote, because this is the alternative.
I think I have great relationships with all people. I am the least racist person in this room.
Mm-hmm. Bring up the lights. Let me see everyone. Okay. Everyone do a 23andMe and I'll let you know. All right, guys, don't just bitch about it, be about it. We will see you next